Hi, this is George Swift from Bigger, Brighter, Bolder, the Mindset for Success. I'm about to go in there and just talk to some entrepreneurs all about what I call the aeroplane model or the aeroplane metaphor. We're also going to do an exercise around it as well. So let me explain to you what the airplane metaphor or model is and how I use it. When we look at an airplane flying through the sky, we can't see all the forces that are affecting that aircraft, but we can see the result of those forces on the aircraft. So we know the aircraft is moving forward, so we know we must have thrust. We know the aircraft isn't just falling from the sky, so we know we must have lift. We also know we have drag, of course, because if we didn't have drag, the airplane wouldn't need to be quite so aerodynamic, and of course it would just keep accelerating faster and faster. We also know we have weight, of course, because if we didn't have any weight, it wouldn't take all that effort to get the thing up there in the first place. Also, it's made of steel and has about 300 people on board, so we know that has a little bit of weight to it. So we don't necessarily see the forces affecting the plane, but we can see the effects of the forces on the plane. And that's the same when we start looking at our own lives and we start looking at areas of our lives or goals we're going for, that maybe we're not making the progress we'd like to make. So how this works is this. With any area of your life and your life as a whole, and within specific goals, for example, or even activities or actions, there will be a number of forces on it. So we'll have maybe a sense of weight. So in other words, we might feel weighed down in an area of our life. We might feel weighed down in life generally. We might feel, for example, that we have things dragging us back, holding us back. We also know, of course, that we have lift in our life, things that make us feel lighter, things that lift us. And of course, we know there's things that thrust us, drive us, motivate us. So here's the thing. Quite often as entrepreneurs, when the going gets tough, if we're not making the progress we need to be making, we tend to just keep thrusting harder and harder and harder. The problem, of course, is if we just keep using more and more thrust, we may well burn out. We may well run out of fuel, if you like, and ditch in the sea before we even achieve our goal. So here's what I want you to do. Look at any of your life you're not making the progress you'd like to make, and look at these forces. So maybe instead of just using thrust, maybe let's look at removing some drag. And instead of necessarily looking at trying to dump loads of weight out of what you're doing, i.e. letting go of maybe some of your bigger dreams, bigger goals, making them more realistic, for example, let's look at how we can get more lift into our lives, more lift into an area of our life. So there's certain things in your life that will lift you, there's certain things that will weigh you down, there's certain things that will drag, hold you back, and there's certain things that will thrust you forward. So of course, if we can have as much positive force forward thrust as possible, with as little drag as possible, we're going to make some good progress. Equally, if we have as little weight in our life as possible, but as much lift as possible, then of course the going is going to be much easier as well. So for me, this is about lasting the long game, survive the long game, okay? Success is a long game. This is one of the things I keep saying to people. You've got to last the long game to achieve that success. The further you can see into the future, and the more you can stay motivated to stay in alignment with that future and take actions with that future, the more successful you can be. But if you're burning all that energy, if you feel so weighed down and you just keep thrusting and thrusting and driving, you know what? You're going to run out of steam. I've seen it so many times. I've had it in my own life as well. We want to create more lift, remove the drag, remove some weight, and we want to add just enough thrust to keep us moving forward. Nice pace. We don't want to be running at 100% all the time. We want to be running at a nice, good pace where we're making really good, solid progress. Occasionally, you might hit a bit of turbulence in your life and you might need to give it a little bit more thrust. You might need to give it a little bit more lift, okay? But on the whole, let's remove the drag, let's get some weight out of it, let's give it a nice amount of thrust, and let's go out there and achieve our goals and, more importantly, last the long game, because the longer you can stay in the game, the more successful you are going to be. This is George Swift from Bigger, Brighter, Bolder, the Mindset for Success. And until next time, be successful.